Hey y'all, Enzo here. Thanks for stopping by the channel today. We're taking a look at the Rough Ryder in Spades Appaloosa Bone Coke bottle. Let's get into it. Alright, so if you guys caught our favorite knives of the year from last year, you may have noticed that I mentioned this one quite endearingly. If I could have given this one knife of the year, I would have, but it's still an excellent knife. I really love this thing. And I wanted to just give you guys kind of a quick overview / review of what makes this knife so great. Another video worth checking out that showed this one off a little bit, as well as the other knives in the In Spades series, at least for the Appaloosa lineup, would be our Rough Ryder kind of highlight video that we did with Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Click up here and you can go check that video out. But since this is the one that I chose, and I'm really glad I did, I wanted to give you a closer look at this one. So it is a Coke bottle pattern. It's kind of a smaller Coke bottle, and it for my hand at least, which I have smaller size hands, it is pretty much perfect. I can get a 4-finger grip on it, no problem. And the size is just the right size to tuck away in your 5th pocket. As we can see here, it has that gorgeous Appaloosa bone. They call this black Appaloosa bone. I think the white is a little bit more present than the black, but still, I think it's just absolutely beautiful on both sides. Yeah, just very much kind of, I don't know, gives you that kind of Western aesthetic in some ways. I always get that feeling from Appaloosa. Well, for one thing, the name Appaloosa. But just the appearance of the die itself, I think, is just really beautiful. It's probably my favorite way to die cattle bone. I just think it looks absolutely gorgeous. The shield here is the Spades shield. Of course, it's where it gets its namesake, the In Spades series. I think it's an excellent shield. I'm normally not one for, I guess, more novelty-oriented shields, but the Spade is just such a, I don't know, it's such a cool symbol that I think you can kind of get away with it on that. And it's an old symbol too. It's not like, you know, something goofy. It's an old symbol with meaning. So I'm pretty on board with that shield. Our main blade here is a clip point, which of course you would expect to see on a Coke bottle. The tang stamp is the Rough Ryder. Now is that that's the 30th anniversary tang stamp there. And we have one thing that's interesting with this handle on both covers. It has a black outline. I'm not sure if that is to hide, you know, some imperfections, if that's like filler or whatever, but even if it is, I don't really mind it at all because it's nice and symmetrical. There's no, you know, there's no weirdness going on with it. While we're on the back spring here, one thing I want to point out, absolutely 0 gaps. I mean, that back spring is pretty much perfect. It's flush all the way through. I don't know if it's flush at the half stop. Let's check that. Pretty daggum close. Y'all can see it's like good gosh, it's like maybe a millimeter proud. I mean, that's nothing. That's pretty doggone close. We'll check the second blade in just a moment. But yeah, just a closer look at the back springs and how wonderfully gapless they are. Very nice. Blade steel's 440A, which I've been critical of in the past, but an Instagram user who I like a lot, who does scrimshaw work on Rough Ryders, he's at Real Scrim Shady on Instagram. Best Instagram handle ever. Go check him out because he does some really cool stuff. He pointed out that, you know, he goes, 440A is pretty good though. He goes, personally, I'll take it over like 420HC, and you know, it takes a great edge, which it does. These edges, and this is from the factory edges on these Rough Ryders are really sharp. Very easy to maintain, very easy to sharpen, and it's stainless. So you know what, for a traditional steel, I think you're probably good to go on the 440A. Now that said, the Rough Ryder Reserve line uses D2, but of course, the trade-off there is that it's not completely stainless. Anyways, main blade's a clip point. We have the matte strike, matte strike pull on there. And Greg over at Smoky Mountain Knife Works actually explained that that is a utilitarian aspect that old traditional knives would be known to have. It'd be a great way to strike a match off of your simply off your knife. So that actually has some history as a functional part of the knife. So pretty cool. It was cool to get that explanation because you don't see match striker pulls all that often anymore. I'll do that one more time. You guys can get a closer look at that walk and talk. It is really good. Let me hold it up a little bit closer. I mean, it is really good. The pull on that main blade is pretty strong, which I like a strong pull, so I'm not complaining at all. I would say I'm going to say it's about a 7. Yeah, that's definitely about a 7. So it's a good hefty pull, but I am quite a fan. For lack of a better word, the lockup is strong. It's not really wobbly or wiggly. No blade play at all, or blade wobble, if you want to call it that. I mean, yeah, I'm really pushing on there to get it to close with one hand. So you're not going to find that this thing wants to go to the half stop readily, which is good. I want my slip joints to deploy firmly, and this one certainly does on the main blade. Let's check the secondary. Now the secondary is a coping blade, equally sharp, nice and pointy. If you want to get down and bear down and do some draw cuts, it's going to be perfect for that. And same tang stamp on this side. Again, the match striker pull there. So the walk and talk on that one's pretty doggone good too. I don't use this blade, so I never really think about it. So I'm having to kind of evaluate it as I go here. I need to do that again with my right hand because my left hand is not used to doing that. Yeah, I think that's even stronger on that one. It may just be the having to come at it with my middle finger instead of my thumbnail. But I would say that's about it. No, that's probably a 7 too. So yeah, very even on the pull strength on both blades, which is impressive. And that's something that I like to see in a 2-blade traditional, which 2 blades are my favorite. I actually typically prefer 2 blades over single blades. And having a consistent pull in both blades and a consistent walk and talk in both blades is, it's something that I like to see. And typically, with Case and with GC, you're going to see that. But for something that is $17, that's pretty impressive. Not to mention that the fit and finish on this $17 knife is wonderful. It's really, really, really good. So again, we're going to get closer up here. I've already mentioned the back springs, but at the transitions, they are perfectly smooth. No raised areas on the transitions here. Same on this side, perfectly smooth. Very impressive. The flutes are not amazing, but that's not something that I really care too much about. They are kind of dirty, and they came this way stock. They were just kind of gritty. Again, not something I really care a whole hell of a lot about. I mean, I don't need flutes. I would have been just as happy without them, but for aesthetic reasons, I can understand the appeal. Let's see, anything else I need to hit on here? One thing I really like is that so Coke bottles have a swell on both sides of the handle, but they minimize the swell. It's still there, but they minimize the point on the inside of the handle. I really appreciate that. Even though, your fingers are really more overlapping the secondary blade rather than the swell, I don't know. I think that was a nice touch, a nice design touch. So whoever made that call, hats off to them. Let's see, anything else to point out? It is a bit, I guess you could say it's a bit thick, but I don't know. I like bigger knives in terms of how they feel in hand, and so I'm a fan of that. I don't mind that so much. It's not quite as like crazy thick as the Rough Rider Reserve Kayak. I think it's appropriate. I think it's fine. But if you like slimmer profile knives, this probably isn't going to be your favorite. But if you're used to 2-blade patterns, I think you're definitely going to enjoy this one. Guys, I think that about covers it. So I just wanted to really quickly sing the praises of what I think is one of probably the best traditional slip joints, value-wise, that you can get right now on the market. After our recent deep dive with Rough Rider and everything that me and Walsh learned at that trip to Smoky Mountain Knife Works, I've had a really big appreciation for this brand that has just kind of come up here. And I know a lot of die-hard traditionalists are going to say, like, oh, I don't want to support, a made-in-China knife. But you know what? Rough Rider has never hid the fact they made knives in China. That's never been something that they try to steer away from. And they're pretty open about, we're trying to bring value to the table. And in order to do that, yes, we do have the knives assembled in China. But the fact of the matter is they're designed by the team at Smoky Mountain Knife Works So it's coming from, right here in Sevierville, Tennessee, just down the road from where I am. And not only that, it's backed by a really awesome warranty / guarantee. Basically, if anything happens to the knife where it becomes non-functional, if you bring it into Smoky Mountain Knife Works, or I suppose if you mail it to them as well, I don't really know the details behind the mailing, shipping aspect of it, they will replace the knife with an equal one, or if that one's no longer made, they will find you one that is the same pattern or the same style, just in a different, probably in a different handle material or something. But they're going to take care of you. They're going to be there for you. And all of that for a $17 price tag in this case. Typically, those Rough Rider prices range from $15 to Rough Rider reserves hang around $60 to $70 sometimes, $70 at the highest. So all of that for that price is just crazy to me. It truly is. I really, truly believe it is the best value traditional folding knife on the market. So, big fans of the Spades series over here. Walsh has the capital N turn in Spades, also in that Appaloosa bone. There is a line coming soon that Walsh and I have both been eagerly anticipating, the cinnamon bone. Very excited about that. I know they're going to have a doctor's knife in it. I'm very eagerly awaiting that. And there's also a fat, I think Brian, the designer that we met, I think he called it a fat bottom doctor's knife. It's not the same line, it's a different line, but I cannot wait for that one. It's based on an IXL pattern, which I believe was an English knife making company based out of Sheffield, same place where the Barlow emerged from originally. Very excited to see that knife. So again, hats off to Rough Rider for what they do, for keeping old patterns alive, and for making it affordable for just, for us, for your average knife collector who doesn't have, thousands of dollars to drop on a Shiro or, on a Strider or something like that. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hey, those of you guys that do have Shiros and Striders, I'm not throwing shade at you, man. You guys have crazy collections, and I like to admire them on Instagram. But if you're like me and you can't drop that cash, and you're a traditional collector, Rough Rider's got your back. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Any questions about this knife, please throw them in the comments. Anything you'd like to add about it. Hey, negative opinions are fine too, man. So whatever you feel on Rough Rider, feel free to throw it down below. Just know that if you haven't tried them out, man, give them a shot. All right, guys, this has been Enzo with Knox Knife Mods. We will see you in the next one. Peace out.